It's like Pisco is here to slap Hutch around. Dude, literally not engaging. Total non-engagement, bro. You gotta give it to Epstein. The swag is crazy. He just won't engage. It's like he will pick on things Econoboi says that don't quite make sense or something. But then the moment Pisco's asking him a hard question, he starts pivoting. You need me doing this. You need me doing it. Bro, get a grip. It's like they're crying about lefties purity testing, and they've decided instead they're going to purity test. And if the lefties ever disagree with anything they say or anything they think, well, then those lefties have to be completely hounded and torn apart. Okay, well, you're just doing the exact same thing. In fact, we might actually just do... I never covered properly. I said I was going to, on the main stream, cover the Lib and Learn debate that we did on Kick the other night. Maybe we should do that here.
Yeah,
it's actually not that long when you skip to just the main debate parts. So it starts off, this Lib and Learn VOD starts off, okay, Pisco is immediately bullying Hutch, okay?
Impeccable. It's just worth watching the cutscene compilations on YouTube.
You know what's impeccable? Econoboy's mic.
How does my mic sound?
Better.
Ow.
Hutch. This has been making the rounds. Boom. I don't know. It's a little stank. Look at that stank face from Hutch. Hutch has been making the rounds. He said, can you believe he's been making the rounds? He's like, ever since the Vanguard appearance, he's like, co-host.
God. The stank face is all we've been seeing from Hutch. It's just been one perpetual stank face after another.
It's because these lefties don't leave him alone. I listened to him do a debate with what was his name, Hutch?
Ogre Boy?
Ogre Boy?
Oh, the Ogre Boy. No, not the Ogre Boy.
I haven't missed the part I was looking for, right? No,
You missed a good one with that one. That was a good one.
Oh, wait,
why are you calling him
I didn't hear it.
Wait a minute. Why are you calling him the Ogre Boy like he's some sort of circus freak, okay?
I think it's funnier. It's like the Ogre Boy. Like that's his, like he's like a super. Did you block him finally, Hutch? I did hear it, but I wasn't referencing that.
I did, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
how can you really dislike Pondering Politics? I cannot. Pondering Politics is one of those guys that I just cannot imagine having a strong feeling either way about. I think he's like, okay. Seems like a smart guy. Seems okay.
That's like a saga.
I'm throwing in the towel for Ogre Boy.
Like he's your Green Goblin. Like you're Spider-Man and he's the Green Goblin. He shows up on his little, Spider-Man, see?
I think that would be more the Penguin than...
Oh.
He's not really a pussy, though, I don't think. He's not really a pussy. When's he been a pussy? I feel like he's pretty good. He's just like, he is just like, pretty intelligent guy, I feel like. I just see him as like someone that knows a decent amount about politics. He just seems like a smart guy, knows a lot about politics, very interested in it, good at talking about it. No problems. No problems. No massive like, wow, this guy's amazing. No significant problems.
Green Goblin, but
well, I just couldn't get him to answer like a really straightforward question, and I just finally, after like asking the question like 5 times, I just threw in the towel. No mas.
You you dropped all civility there. You went in hard against Ogre Boy, which honestly he's a dick. So like I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but I was surprised. I'm like, ooh, Hutch is...
I mean, you guys see probably this stuff happen in a vacuum. You really don't see the kind of shit that they fucking send to my replies on a regular basis. Like,
what do they say? Do they like, you're a genocide apologist, you're this or that?
Oh yeah, stuff like you guys know who Cinemarxism is?
No, I never heard of him.
He's like I guess he has a filmmaking background, but he's leftist Twitch creator. He was in
just
my
muted his mic and shouted at his dog.
Chat today. And did you guys watch the Jubilee video? That was fucking insane, by the way.
Yeah, fucking very cool.
Can we real quick sidebar on the Jubilee thing? Can somebody confirm? Can you actually react to that? Because I see everybody react to it. I thought Jubilee was like copyright strike. They copyright struck.
Yeah, they struck me, or they didn't strike me. They claimed me.
There's certain people that have exceptions, but it's not clear who.
Well, I think there's like ways that you can trick DMCA, but that's risky in itself because you're
so already Pisco has called out Hutch's stank face at the start, right? Already on a bad foot, Pisco I feel like is kind of looking for blood, or at least he knows it's going to happen. I think Pisco's aware of the dynamic here. I think Pisco sees what's going on. I think I see what's going on. Hutch obviously had those debates. He got knocked around by Pisco, Josiah, and Econoboi. Each time they've spoken about it, those guys have knocked him around. He did better against the Vanguard guys because they really are kind of like they're not that interested in politics. It seems like there are people that are super interested in politics and the processes, and then there are people that are just sort of like maybe care about the issues, but don't really care about politics and just sort of like talk about what they feel about shit. And Vanguard are more like that, and they don't really give a fuck how the process works. So Hutch was able to score some pretty good wins on them about the process. But Pisco, Josiah, and Econoboi had much stronger points about overall strategy and shit, which Hutch was not able to contend with at all. But Destiny reviewed those podcasts, those debates, and sided heavily with Hutch and spazzed out, totally spurred the fuck out and was saying so much stupid shit, like saying that it shouldn't be the president's job to do communications, the president shouldn't be an influencer, maybe the media should just start informing people better. He was like totally speaking, maybe the media should inform people better, maybe people like Pisco should do a better job of explaining things to people. As if Pisco doesn't do like an infinitely better job of explaining politics to people than fucking Destiny does at this point. But yeah, he just thinks that everything else should change and that nothing is the fault of the president. Nothing is the fault of the president. It's all got to be on the media and on, except when it's Trump, of course. Biden is just completely perfect. And if you criticize him, you're abandoning him, betraying him. So Destiny has spazzed the fuck out watching these debates, given Hutch that Spurg energy, given him that lent him his energy, Dragon Ball style. And Hutch is feeling renewed, and Pisco knows that, and Pisco knows he's got to dismantle that. I don't know if there's clips of Destiny spazzing out. I literally just clicked on his stream and saw like 5 seconds of it, so I'm making the dumbest fucking points imaginable. And I saw Pisco reiterating that as well. The exact same points and how dumb they were. So I didn't watch any of the rest of it.
But like, I feel like I don't want to get into the how because I feel like that might be
TOS. Oh, you have some dark secrets that you.
Of course, yeah. He knows all about the copyright secrets because of Ethan Klein, of course.
So yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's like first we go with the stank face, then he's taking digs about Ethan drama and copyright. It's like Pisco is here to slap Hutch around.
I want to get into the how because I feel like that might be TOS.
Oh, you have some dark secrets that you.
Of course, yeah. He knows all about the copyright secrets because of Ethan Klein, of course. Which he obviously supports the lawsuits.
Wait a minute. Wait,
what's from controversy?
What's the special formula? How much? What's the watch to react ratio?
You can't just maliciously siphon. It's a very special formula. Yeah.
Well, like so, certain channels do auto DMCA. So Jubilee, Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan, and a number of other channels.
Immediately pivot, change the topic, get off. Okay, so. That's just a couple of jabs at the beginning there. I want to get into where they really start arguing. So it's after the map stuff's done.
The context to the audience, basically, during this, it was like a defense budget proposal that was getting voted on. Marjorie Taylor Greene had proposed an amendment to strip out $500 million worth of funds from assistance that we give Israel to support their Iron Dome program. And I think that essentially the people who voted in favor of this amendment were
so I think it's here.
Has he been
probably has some bad thoughts about her right now.
I too am ripping AOC.
Think of a random lefty.
Yeah.
Israel.
So it starts off basically this is when the real debate starts. And it's about AOC and her voting yes on that money to fund the Iron Dome. Obviously, I think a lot of libs, their perspective on that is that vote was like a given. She just kind of had to vote for it and there wasn't really any reason to not. A lot of lefties want the symbolic, at least, gesture of voting against it. Right? That's what a lot of lefties want to see from AOC. And so obviously, when this happens, the lefties are putting pressure on to do that. But they'll probably move on in a week. But Hutch feels like this is the end. This is it. It's over for AOC now because the lefties are just going to tear her apart.
I didn't soy out.
Why don't you? Can you explain? Can you explain like what happened?
She is getting ripped to shreds. No,
he was on
maybe,
Ryan.
sorry,
I know
sorry,
he was
maybe
on
not.
Sean Ryan. I don't think he was on Flagrant. I know Buttigieg was. Rokana.
Don't
Bernie.
care. Still voting for AOC. Sorry.
I don't think. I just still don't think AOC is going to run for president. I think she's going to use her Chuck first.
Do we really want to talk about AOC right now? Because I have a few thoughts.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, this is the start. Hutch brings it up. Hutch is like desperate to get onto this topic.
Did you like soy out about the vote on Israel?
I didn't soy out.
Why don't you? Can you explain? Can you explain like what happened?
She is getting ripped to shreds.
Okay.
By your friends.
Oh,
my friends.
No, Josiah.
Yeah, you don't know the Vanguard, Pisco. You have no like. You're like.
What do you mean?
Not just Vanguard.
Yeah, I can't remember what you're at. Basically, AOC made the wrong decision for these lefties on some fucking way. I literally, honestly, I do not care about the minutiae of Israel funding in America. It's I haven't looked into this story. I've like just picked out from context clues watching these guys debate it. So
not just Vanguard, all of them.
They're all my friends, Pisco. They are all my friends. I'm basically by association. I too am ripping AOC.
Think of a random lefty content creator in your mind. They are ripping AOC to shreds right now. Anyone you can think of.
Econoboi, he's a socialist. Has he been
Econoboi
ripping?
probably has some bad thoughts about her right now.
Wait, when are we gonna put up that AOC hate video? No, wait, who's going after my queen?
I guess for the context of the audience, basically, during this, it was like a defense budget proposal that was getting voted on. Marjorie Taylor Greene had proposed an amendment to strip out $500 million worth of funds from assistance that we give Israel to support their Iron Dome program. And I think that essentially the people who voted in favor of this amendment were Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she is the one that proposed it, and then basically 5 congressional progressives, I think, and AOC.
Al Green, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and a couple other people.
And AOC did not vote in favor of it. And AOC's argument was basically that, look, I voted against the bill in the final bill that got passed. I just don't think that this was really, I guess for a lack of a better term, like she just didn't seem to really want to come out and just be like, look, this is just not really going to stop the offensive posture of the Israeli government. And so she voted against it. And so a bunch of lefties are really upset with her about that. And I think there's, I think the actual the principle of the criticism, I think, does make some sense, but
we're going to fight again.
Well, to Hutch's point, but you're not making, I feel like you've said this several times that like, you're not really even commenting on the principled nature of the vote. You're making a purely practicality based vote, which is to say that, this, I guess under your view, you would say that like, this kind of gets some of the heat off of AOC, and it wouldn't be as controversial of a vote for her to take.
Yeah, let's.
And it was DOA
sure.
anyway.
Hutch, you are not critiquing. Yes or no? You are not critiquing Econoboi's principle of the argument. Separate from the pragmatics, you're not criticizing what Econoboi just said about the sort of underlying principle of the policy, correct?
No, principally, I think it's stupid, and strategically, I think it's stupid. Because what you're saying, so the logic is, and let me spell it out. They say that the Iron Dome is not just a defensive missile system.
So I think the principle isn't stupid. The practicality is what you have to argue, unless you're just like saying you're full-throatedly supporting Israel, right? Because what I think I've already seen this debate, obviously, what Pisco is basically going to argue is there's like a what would you say, like opportunity cost or whatever, that even if it's a defensive weapon, giving them resources for defensive weapons frees up more of their resources for offensive weapons. And that's why you obviously wouldn't give, Iron Dome funding to Hamas, for instance, because you know that even if you give them defensive weapons, they could free up resources for offensive, and you're funding it either way there.
Defensive missile system, right? They say it's offensive because Israel can conduct military strikes and military operations without any credible fear of like a massive barrage of rockets, because they have this intent. And so if they were to suffer like those bombings or whatever, then maybe they would think twice about like, bombing Syria or Iran or whatever. This is fucking stupid.
It's not stupid at all. No, it's not stupid at all.
Hold on.
So Pisco immediately jumps on that. Thank you for the $5, Jimberly. Thank you. Dickers left the priesthood because he watched one of his streams back and stopped believing in God. Thank you. Thank you.
So should we give Palestine Iron Dome? Should we give Palestine Iron Dome?
I would like to finish my point right now.
Okay, yeah, sure.
The reason why this is fucking stupid is the rockets that are sent into Israel very oftentimes are sent into Israeli like civilian neighborhoods. And so what you're saying to take this position, you are saying that in order for
Israelis should die. You're saying Israeli civilians should just die
to like learn its lesson that it can't do these strikes in Syria or whatever. Is you think that Israeli civilians should die? That's
no.
That's what
I mean, no. It's the money is fun. No. So we're gonna have the argument. We're gonna linearize and be 100% clear. So to be clear, you would not support, would you, giving defensive, quote unquote, defensive weaponry to Hamas? Correct?
Dude. You can see the cogs turning. How am I going to make this make sense? Where is this leading? If you were on Kick the other night, you saw this. But this is new to YouTube, okay?
And be 100% clear. So to be clear, you would not support, would you, giving defensive, quote unquote, defensive weaponry to Hamas, correct?
Why not? What, you think that Gazan civilians, in order for Hamas to learn their lesson, you think Gazan civilians have to die, Hutch? Is that what you think, Hutch?
No. To Hamas, no, I would not.
Yeah,
but
why wouldn't you be in favor of that? Wait. Can I ask why?
Hold on. As someone who doesn't want like anyone to die from these bombs, I would want like everybody to have a fucking Iron Dome system. So it's not like I do think that civilians
why would you be
in every
against
country should be
why would you be
allowed
against
defensive?
Why would you be against defensive weapons for Hamas?
I do not put Hamas on the same plane as IDF.
Wait, no, but
okay. But wow, what a compelling response! Wow, what a compelling response, Hutch. Very intelligent stuff. Very, very compelling. Well, they're not the same. So you did have breakfast this morning. Great to hear. You're feeling full. Well, not that you would say that.
Hang on. Those are defensive weapons. They're defensive weapons to prevent civilian death and to prevent attacks from coming into Gaza. So why wouldn't you be in support of Hamas having defensive weapons?
If it was like any other like governing body or military that was not Hamas, then I think we could have that conversation.
No, presumably because you understand the fungibility of resources, right? Money spent on one thing is like, it's fungible, right? Like, just like you wouldn't be in favor of just, I don't know, like just handing over buckets of money to Hamas because it shores up other things that they could otherwise spend on arms, right? Like, it's the argument for material support.
Aren't you distracting from the point?
I'm not distracting at all. I'm not distracting at all.
Necessarily leads you to the conclusion that Israeli civilians are going to have to die in order for like Israel to learn this lesson.
Is that your position about fucking Gazan civilians, you fucking idiot?
Like attack that necessarily on its own. The reason why I think this is stupid is because if you start having rockets go into Israel and they don't have this Iron Dome defensive system, you don't think that Israel's going to attack even more harshly if like dozens or hundreds of Israeli civilians are killed? You don't think they're going to bomb?
No, you don't understand. We have to give more money to Israel because they'll be even more aggressive if we don't. Okay, Hutch. Okay, Hutch.
More? The notion is go ahead, Econoboi, but I have a response. But
yeah, no, I was gonna say. I mean, the main argument that I've heard, which I think is pretty sensible, is the idea of the fungibility of the assistance, right? That look, I mean, I think if Israel, the Iron Dome program is undoubtedly effective at preventing civilian casualties in Israel, but I think that by defunding and just like generally stripping away the military assistance from Israel, you're forcing them to make that choice themselves and say, hey, look, like obviously Israel has the money to fund this system. Like Israel's a very rich country and they have the ability to financially, they have the tax base to replace all, money that goes to them from the United States. And so similarly with the Iron Dome system, I think it would be very sensible for it to be funded, but it should be funded by the Israeli government. And the argument, especially at this point where we're seeing like, it seems like we're seeing starvation deaths kick up and like they've become significantly more aggressive since Trump took office with all the aid. I mean, I saw a story today which saw that they opened fired on a bunch of people that were scrambling to get aid from the aid trucks because people have gotten so desperate that
like 60 people got murdered. It's fucking insane.
And I was going to say, like in that environment, given that, again, fungibility of resources, that, hey, Israel, if you want...
I showed once, but you're right. I should show again now. Guys, 420 people watching, 120 likes on stream, so almost 300 people. Please move the cursor thumbs up and clicking it or pressing the thumbs up on the mobile device. That'd be hugely appreciated. Now, if you want to take your support one step further, you can do it directly through a stream elements link in the pinned chat message. You can also buy a membership to the channel, gift a membership to the channel, gift a whole bunch of memberships randomly throughout the chat, buy a super chat, which will highlight a message of real TTS, or buy a super sticker, which is a YouTube image or GIF that we highlight in chat and I'll subscribe it to you. You can go to discord.gg/Kuihman, twitter.com/Kuihman, or reddit.com/r/Kuihman. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Under the Iron Dome, we know that you have the money to do that. And by stripping away that money, you're kind of forcing them to reprioritize their military resources for a defensive posture,
war,
which would be better for the Palestinian people. And I think that's a very sensible.
While simultaneously protecting Israeli civilians, right? So,
yeah, so wait, exactly. You guys are disagreeing with this idea that if more Israeli civilians died, that they
wait a minute.
You're not hearing what Econoboi just said.
Dude, literally not engaging. Total non-engagement, bro.
Yeah,
you're just
Hutch,
literally not listening to him.
Can you address that part, Hutch? Because I think, listen, I'm not a foreign policy guy, but from what little I've heard, that was, I think, a pretty good point. This idea that it doesn't necessitate the death of Israeli citizens. If the Israeli government is capable of funding the Iron Dome on itself, Israel just can't have its cake and eat it too. They can't simultaneously commit an offensive war with impunity and rely on the United States largesse. They can protect themselves. It doesn't necessitate Israeli deaths. It would also prevent them from being in a position to inflict such casualties on Palestinians. Do you accept that?
Yes, that's an understandable argument. I understand what you're saying here. If we can dive into the practical consideration here.
Okay.
Okay, so please admit that you lost on the principle. Please admit you lost on the fucking principle there.
Wait, but can you grant that at least? I mean, wait. So you're gonna say grant? Okay, so you're great. Okay, cool.
I understand that argument. Maybe I didn't hear what he was saying exactly because I was in my own head or whatever. But yes, that makes sense. But just now, can we dive in?
Wait, but I thought Vyvan's made it so that you're always super folk. Okay.
To the practical.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
For someone like AOC, right? You guys want to see her succeed. She is the biggest champion right now. She's the biggest champion by far for democratic socialism or progressive policies.
100%.
Bernie's very clearly handing her the mantle. She very clearly, I think, is not going to be content to stay in the House. I don't think she wants to be House Speaker. I think she wants to be a senator, a governor, a president. I think
we'll see. Yeah.
I think that's my sense of things, right? As such, you should be actively rooting for her to do these kinds of votes because
these ruthless kind of votes.
This type of thing is the type of thing that will come back to bite her in the ass. 4 years from now, she's going to be on a debate stage, or 3 years from now, she's going to be on a debate stage.
Wait, the way she voted, or if she voted a different way? Can you clarify?
If she voted to strip funding for the Iron Dome,
gotcha.
There's going to be a moderator or whatever during the primary debates, and they're going to ask her what.
Well, he's not desperately changing the argument. You got blown out on that argument, and now it is changing, right? There were two arguments that were sort of proposed at first. There is the principle of the vote, and there's the practicality of the vote. The principle, Hutch has been completely fucking blown out on. He was totally wrong. Econoboi totally raped. Pisco raped. It's over. Now they're talking about the practicality. And they'll probably mostly agree on this.
How did you vote to strip a defensive missile system? And even if your argument here is persuasive, to normie voters, they're just going to hear, wait, what? You wanted to get rid of their defensive missile systems? And this is going to be something like that is baggage. And there was no upside to her doing that.
That's not unreasonable, I don't think. If it's not going to pass and it's just going to be a mark on your record that people can easily use against you because it's a optically bad, kind of poorly thought out vote. I feel like what you might say normies don't care about Israel like that, but the point is that this is something that isn't very useful. It's not very useful for her to vote yes on. It's just sort of, it's only really drawbacks. You can pander to your base a bit by voting yes on it. But it can be used against you pretty seriously because it's just it is dumb to focus on defensive first, just for optics reasons, right?
Vote. Why does she need to shore up her support from a lefty online voter base? Why does she still need their support?
I'm not super offended by this vote. I think people who are so out about it are cringe.
She voted against the bill. She voted
because it was dead on arrival, right?
Bill.
How many votes did it get?
The amendment only got 6. Her amendment only got 6 votes, bro. It was 400 plus people voted against it.
No, but I would critique, and I would be scathing to anyone who if AOC did vote in favor of this provision, I wouldn't have a problem with it either. And if she voted against it, I don't really have a problem with that. For me, it's not a humongous deal. It's not like the other kind of signaling votes that do matter to me, for example, that indicate weakness, right? on the one hand,
but you understand how people are going to weaponize a vote like that in the future, and it's just going to cost her.
Actually, I'm not super offended by it. I think the people who are so mad about it would vote for her, probably. And I think that she would get huge support from the far left community, from the pro-Palestinian community. And just to be clear about where I stand on something, I go after Ogreboy because individually, I think a lot of there are some pro-Palestinian commentators who do have to answer for their votes with respect to not voting for Kamala or voting for Trump in some cases. But in general, like the lefts voted for Kamala, and so I'm so done with this narrative. It's just really just not true that like we're in favor of having that like fall out. The left, by and large, is voting for the Democratic candidate. It's not a huge deal, and I think people will get over it. And I think that I have to make a little self-critique or critique you, Hutch, a little bit. I think that the amount of time that you spend on lefties is a little inordinate given the risk that they pose from an electoral perspective.
They are all viciously attacking the best chance for democratic socialism in the Congress right now. Pull up her tweet and go in there.
They'll get over it.
What do you mean get over it?
Hassan will do a stream. Hassan will do a stream with AOC.
Progressive media have no power.
Well,
really?
I think what he's saying, and I'm curious about this, and maybe we should ask Lakshya about this when we talk to him next Monday, is I think Pisco's argument is, though they will bitch online about that it doesn't manifest meaningfully in voter turnout, that by and large lefties, progressives will still vote for the moderate Democratic candidate if a Republican is the alternative.
I completely reject this notion that a collective of audiences that number in the millions that traffic in this kind of idiotic, myopic, juvenile, like baseless oftentimes rhetoric. You don't think that's doing damage electorally? Especially when these elections are this close.
No, it's
you guys are high, man.
I don't.
You're high.
It's not. No. But it's not. It's not that I don't think there's some margin of people that would be convinced by this. But we have to consider a few things. All right. So number one, a lot of these people have overlapping audiences, right? Number two, a lot of the audience of these people aren't necessarily like anti-electoralist or like Green Party voting socialists. A lot of the people that watch these people are also libs, are also Democratic Party voters who just take a more skeptical view of things. And so when we look at, I think to Pisco's point, this is what resonates with me. Like when we look at like polling data, voting behavior, we can even look at the anecdotes of just like what happens when AOC gives a public appearance or gives a public speech, right? You do find that there are some people, and by the way, this was a vote that she took a year ago. It was substantially the same vote where she voted to continue funding the Iron Dome. And
it literally was.
Look at what happened in that last year. Like, yeah, there have been a few people that have shown up to a few of her events and yelled at her. They threw paint on her, like her office, I guess, the other day. But look, she's going to coast to re-election in 2026, more likely than not.
She'll be fine.
I don't understand you guys. You want to use kid gloves with these people. I really don't.
I'm not using kid gloves.
Yes, you do. You want.
What are you talking about?
You want her to be successful, and you're hand waving literally all of them.
No, I'm not.
I don't agree. We don't agree with them.
You are.
We don't agree with them.
It's not that big of a deal. When the entire lefty media ecosystem are throwing her under the bus right now. All of them.
We don't think it will manifest in any kind of electoral result. I'm not convinced that it will have a material effect on her election chances with respect to like any kind of ambitious with the president and anything related to the Senate. By your own metric, right? By your own metric, she is going to do better because of this vote. Like you are the one who's billing this as a strategic move.
In spite of these people, you get that?
Yeah. In spite of them.
Well, I don't think that Econoboi and Pisco are saying that the left bitching about AOC.
We disagree.
Helping.
I think it's.
I don't think that they're saying that it's helping her. I think that they're saying that she will succeed in spite of them.
They're saying it's not that big of a deal. But Econoboi, you are changing your tune, my friend, because shortly after the election, you were making the case that polls were showing that a decent amount of people that sat out who otherwise would have voted Democrat, Gaza was a big deal to them. That's what you said shortly after the election.
Yeah,
you
but
you don't think the social media ecosystem had any part in that? Like nothing or little part?
Well. No, first of all, the mainstream media covered this as a huge issue as well, and I mean there were major swaths of the Democratic Party that made that a priority. But we have to keep in mind, like when people aggregately say that they have more sympathy in the Democratic Party for Palestinians than for the Israeli government at this.
How much more simply can you're wasting all your time and energy you're wasting your time focusing all of your energy on these people be put? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I just feel like it is just so obvious that most lefties, most socialists, most commies, whatever, vote them. Same in the UK, they vote Labour. They show up. Most of them. You know, the ones that vote, they vote them. Sure, you shouldn't tailor your entire fucking party to them. I think everyone agrees with that. You shouldn't, you know, immediately jump to tailoring to the most extreme fringes of the party, of course. But the idea that when these people are just like saying, oh, I don't like what the party's doing right now, when something happens, that has to become, when that happens, it's like, that's your focus. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, there's like no need to do that. It doesn't have enough of an impact to justify your time. If you care about political efficacy. Obviously, if Hutch just wants to make content, if he just likes laughing at lefties and fighting with lefties, and he just likes making that kind of content, then sure. But these losers always want to make it about fucking political efficacy. We got to drive these lefties out of the party. They're going to ruin everything for us. They're going to make us lose the next election. Bro, you're not that guy. You are not that guy.
Point, then that's a spectrum view of people. That like not everyone is as extreme as, you know, I don't know, like Hassan or Mike from PA on this issue. And you know, when you actually like talk to a lot of pro-Palestinian organizers, when it comes to their view about AOC, it's just not quite as extreme as, you know, your average like lefty Twitter account, where a lot of them will say, yeah, it's a really disappointing vote, but look, I mean, AOC is right on even on this issue, like 95%. People have a sensibility about these things. And then when it comes to like, that's only amongst people that really, really, really prioritize this issue. I mean, I would ask you to make a prediction, Hutch. Do you think AOC is not going to get reelected to her congressional seat? Do you think she's going to get primary? Do you think that she's going to have like wall-to-wall protests at every single event she goes to? Do you think that she's going to, you know, all of a sudden fall the fuck off in the polling of these presidential 2028 hypotheticals? Like, I think in
2028, if she hypothetically were to make a primary run for the president, they're gonna make her job harder. They're gonna hurt her in this.
I think they're gonna support her. I think they will. But if they don't,
I will never
understand.
Right. I will never understand. You guys support her. You want her to be successful. You see creators with massive audiences. This is not small.
I condemn Hassan condemning AOC over this.
You see all of them in unison throwing her under the bus right now, and your reaction is to not like.
Wait a second. Wait. So two separate things. Wait. Two separate things. There's one issue, and I want to see if you agree with me laying out. One issue is, do we agree with that criticism, and do we condemn that criticism? I want to answer the affirmative. I condemn that criticism. I support my queen AOC. So that's one issue. Do we support that, and do we condemn the people who are making those opinions? I condemn the people who are condemning AOC on the basis of the vote. I agree with your strategic analysis. I don't really give a fuck if she voted one way or the other. I think it's small potato. I don't think it matters. That's one issue. The separate issue is, do you think it will be a big deal and materially affect anything over the course of AOC's political career? The answer to that is no. And you're telling me I'm unhinged because I have the take that nothing ever happens? I'm unhinged for thinking this shit won't matter and they'll forget about it in 2 weeks? That makes me unhinged, Hutch, right?
They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop attacking her. They're going to actively work against her.
Hutch,
these people have massive audiences that if they actually mobilize their audiences in constructive way,
Guys, he is crying. This is what Hutch is pitching right now. He is pitching that Kyle Kalinske and Cenk Uygur are going to actively work against AOC for the rest of time. That's what he's claiming. Cenk Uygur and Kyle Kalinske are going to actively work against AOC. Can we think of any reasons this might be retarded?
It could make an electoral difference.
I'm actually not those specific people. They pull up the tweets, and it is like Kyle and Cenk. I can't remember who else in the replies.
Stake level.
Now that I agree. Now that I agree.
If you agree with me, then you should think it's a big deal that all of them
wait a minute. I think you're conflating two separate things. I totally agree with you, and I would be shocked if either Pisco or Econoboi disagreed. This idea that if Hutch was more if Hassan, for example, was more overtly pro Kamala Harris or whatever, alongside all the other big creators, could that have made a meaningful difference? I think yes.
I think maybe, yeah.
And certainly from Donald Trump, and you're not pissed at these people.
Well, wait a minute,
they could have saved us from Donald Trump, and you're like,
whoa. huge conflation, Hutch. So one thing is, what on this specific issue, years away from an election, you're saying my nonchalance at this specific vote and criticism of specific content creators at this specific vote, years away from a presidential election, you're saying my nonchalance at that necessarily I'm nonchalant.
Well, it's not just that Cenk is Mr. Optics. Kyle and Cenk founded Justice Dems, which gave like AOC and a bunch of other people, like Ilhan Omar and all that shit, all the progressives in the Dems, like a huge amount of funding, like fucking years ago. Like they have literally been like, they were like day ones for AOC.
A lot about Hassan with respect to the presidential election.
Sorry, buddy.
Hassan with respect to the presidential election months before the election. How on earth are you going to justify that massive conflation?
Because it's absolutely insane to
suggest that so they disagree with, they publicly signal against her on this one vote. So now they're going to actively work against her and undo like 8 years, fucking 10 years of work. Are you fucking insane?
Instinct is to always be like, yeah, but that's just like the lefties on social media. Bro, they have collective millions of people in their audience. Millions. They could be doing so much more to help us like stop fascism. And every time I bring it up, you guys are like, oh, here Hutch goes again.
So I critiqued heavily. I critiqued heavily, and oh, by the way, Ogre-Boy, I don't know. I think he might be in my Twitch actually. Do you want me to ban him?
No, it's fine.
So I critiqued massively people who said, don't vote for Kamala, sit out the vote, the pro-Palestinian people. You see me on my Twitter having Twitter wars with these people. I think they're fucking, shitty opinions, stupid. I've confronted them on stream, and me being nonchalant about, okay, yeah, this isn't going to matter. I don't really think it's going to have a material effect. It's not to lessen the condemnation. Fuck Hassan. I just want to say it one more time. Fuck Hassan Piker. I hate what he fucking stands for. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, fuck Hassan. Fuck Hassan. You want this virtue signal from me. You want this virtue signal from me. You want me to virtue signal and be like, fuck these people. Fuck them. They didn't vote for Biden. They didn't vote for Kamala. Fuck them. I disavow.
Hassan did vote for Kamala. And Biden, I think.
All I'm saying is, you're crazy if you think it's going to have a material effect. It's not going to have a material effect. Now, if what you're saying is the purity testing in general, speaks to a broader pattern, a character that is, apt to make them act a certain way, then yeah, that pattern is going to be problematic in the years to come, no doubt. But this particular manifestation of it, it's not going to fucking matter, bro. It's just, they're going to forget about it.
It is not just Hassan, and we should stop looking at this particular thing in a vacuum. This is a systemic problem with that entire media ecosystem. Do you understand that?
So Bannon, Panada, Hassan, let's name names.
Hutch's simultaneously, Hutch's position is both we need to coalition build and also nobody can disagree. That's not a coalition, Hutch. Point of a coalition, people of different perspectives come together for a common cause. Common cause, getting Dems elected. However, they're going to have different views within that. So when those different views come up, they're going to express them. Just like you would, Hutch. Just like you would.
Names. Let's name names. Hassan.
Pull up the tweet. Pull it up.
Which tweet?
The AOC tweet where she talked about her vote yesterday.
Okay,
Let's take a look at the replies and we'll see what we see.
Well,
I'll pull
Hutch, I feel like one point that you haven't really responded to is the idea that AOC literally made like this exact same vote like a year and a half ago.
Years ago, yes.
They didn't attack her like this. I don't know what to tell you. They're doing it now.
They did. Wait. The DSA, the National DSA officially unendorsed and removed her from their slate of candidates because of this exact vote that Econoboi is referencing.
Was it AOC's official account or was it her press the AOC updates thing?
I think
let me show.
I'm just a spoiler alert.
Hassan didn't get Zohran elected. He definitely, I think he probably helped. It's definitely like, a lot of, my understanding is it's a lot of the types of people that might like Hassan that were voting for Zohran. But I don't think it was just Hassan or anything. Zohran's pretty good, I think, right? From what I've seen. Definitely a very good public speaker. Like, did you guys see this video the other day? I showed this on Kick, I think.
Being a politician means listening, not just to your supporters, but your critics too. And some of these critics, especially on a certain website, have been giving me consistent advice. For example, @SamWhite087. Zohran, go back to Uganda, where you come from and belong. @TeflonGone. Loser, go back to Africa. There are thousands like this from across the country. I hear you. And I agree. I'm going back to Uganda. I'm headed there in a personal capacity to celebrate Rama and I's marriage with our family and friends. But I do want to apologize to the haters, because I will be coming back. And since you will undoubtedly read about this trip in the New York Post, inshallah on the front page, here are a few of my humble suggestions for headlines. MIA, Mamdani in Africa. Uganda miss me. He's completely crazy. He can't be serious. Carl Kampala-Neely investigates Mamdani. Zoe running away.
So stupid. Actual good social media material, which you don't see from fucking Dems and lefties very often.
You're going to see every major leftist content creator.
Is it this one?
Yeah.
That's
okay.
right. That's right.
Just scroll down and see what you see.
All right, so let's see. Marjorie Taylor Greene's amendment does nothing to cut off offensive aid to Israel nor end the flow of U.S. munitions being used in Gaza. Of course, I voted against it. What it does do is cut off defensive Iron Dome capacities while allowing the actual bombs killing Palestinians to continue. I've long stated I do not believe that adding to the death count of innocent victims to this war is constructive to its end. That is a simple and clear difference of opinion that's long been established. I remain focused on cutting the flow of
Babka
U.S.
has
munitions.
lost all right to talk shit on Louis. We will not be hearing Louis slander from Babka anymore.
Being used to perpetuate the genocide in Gaza. Francesca Fiorentini, you knew it wasn't going to pass, so why not take a stand against military aid to Israel, even if sponsored by Green? Your progressive colleagues, far more vulnerable than you, stood on business against genocide. You got to buck the liberal Zionist lobbyists in your ear.
You don't need to read all the words. Just scroll down. They're all in there, bro.
Well, I'm curious with this one.
Kyle Kulinski.
Kyle says this is pathetic.
Ratioed her. Kyle Kulinski, one of the most prominent voices in this space, ratioed her and called her.
Dude, that is so fucking... You think Kyle Kulinski is dropping AOC? Yeah? You think Kyle Kulinski is dropping AOC? Like, he's talking about... These are... All the lefties turned on her. Kyle Kulinski, SDL, Cenk Uygur.
Pathetic. And you guys don't think that this is going to make her job more difficult down the line if she wants to make a run at the presidency.
Wait. Did he call her pathetic, or did he say that this is pathetic?
He says it's right here. This is pathetic. This
are we being a bit pedantic?
Hutch, no, we're not. Wait.
We're she not. Called her action pathetic.
So when I say that Biden was pathetic when he did X, doesn't mean that I call Biden pathetic. Now, by the way, I do call Biden pathetic, but that's just separate. But like, they're not necessarily the same thing. I've seen Kyle Kulinski criticize people very harshly on specific matters. It doesn't necessarily extend beyond that. So, I want to be clear about something. I don't think that this is like needed criticism. The lefties are going to continue to support her. If she would be on like in a panel between her, Gavin Newsom, fucking Governor Shapiro, who do you think they're going to vote for? Who do you think they're going to vote for? They're going to vote for AOC.
Yeah, so SDL says this is wrong. Jenk says, I know why you voted for it, but just saying Israel needs defensive doesn't address the question why we pay for it. Why do we owe them anything?
They're all making videos about it. They see one person do it, and then they all feel like they have to do it. You know what I mean? Because if
how
they
hard?
don't,
can I ask you something?
like,
how hard are they going in their videos?
They're going hard. They are savaging her right now, bro. And they're going to do the same thing to Mamdani at a certain point. I promise you, it's going to happen.
But Hutch, again, I think that there's kind of two things being said here, but these views are ultimately compatible. Look, I think that it's true that she's getting a heap of shit from a heap of leftist creators online, but that's totally compatible with the idea that, look, at the end of the day, I don't think that this represents like a significant setback to AOC's political journey or political career.
Your instinct is to always minimize this shit. All of you guys, all three of you. I'm so resolved in this.
We pull up pictures of Zohran's wife, dude.
It's not even funny.
No, like, but is your instinct to maximize
whenever I bring it up, you guys are always prone to be like, it's not that big of a deal, bro. It's not that big of a deal.
No,
you never want to fucking call it what it is. These people are toxic. That's what I'm saying.
Hutch, they can be toxic, and they can, like you said, they can make her life a bit harder, but that doesn't mean that they are a significant needle mover in left-wing spaces in actually existing. Hutch, you're not even disagree. Do you disagree with anything I just fucking said?
Do you disagree with what he said?
Yes, I completely reject this.
Which part?
Completely reject this notion that these guys don't have an influence in electoral politics.
That's
You're
not
wrong.
what we're saying, Hutch.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not, Hutch. You can have an influence.
You're saying they don't move the needle that much. That's what you're saying.
They don't. There's no evidence that they. Hutch, there's no evidence.
Wait, what is Kulinski retweeting right now on my timeline? What am I seeing here?
had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with
That's why he's the GOAT. That's Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. The swag is crazy. You can't deny. He might be a sex trafficking pedophile, but you can't deny the swag is crazy. You gotta give it to Epstein. The swag is crazy. Look at the collar here, man. Look at him lounging in this chair, man. Check the M's.
That they move the needle that much when it comes to at least progressive people like AOC. Again, I would agree that, look, this is going to be a bitch every time she, when she goes and gets interviewed by Kyle Kulinski and Crystal Ball, this is going to be a question that gets brought up. It's going to be a criticism of her. People are going to oh my goodness, fuck AOC. I'm going to vote for Jill Stein for the 14th time in a row. And that's going to fucking amount to something this time. Yeah, that's going to happen, Hutch. But obviously there's a difference between saying that, yeah, a margin of people are going to be upset about this and going to be moved away from her. But to your point, you agree that this isn't aggregately going to hurt AOC because you think this was the politically correct thing for her to do.
No. I didn't tell you that I think that maybe she's not going to win her next re-election in the House. I said it is going to make her job more difficult in the future if she aspires to higher office. If she wants higher office.
Does it make her hold on, Hutch. Does it make her job 1% more difficult or twice as difficult?
There's no way that we can quantify this. Hold on, let's establish a couple things. Do we agree that we're talking about just a couple things? I'll be concise. Do we agree that their collective reach, all of these creators, is millions of people?
Yes.
Yes. In the United States.
Yes.
Do we agree that the 2016 presidential election was decided by 40,000 fucking votes across 3 states? Do we agree that the 2020 election was decided by 80,000 across 3 states?
Yes.
Do we agree that the 2024 election was decided by roughly 120,000 across 3 states?
I think it's a little more than that, but yes.
I thought it was 250,000.
Yeah, I think it's
200.
Right.
No, I thought it was. You might be right about that.
But whatever. Hundreds of thousands.
The point is, all of these elections have been close, and they have millions of people in their audience, and I can't get you guys to acknowledge how potentially damaging they have been consistently over the years.
This is why, because so I want to just be clear about something. It's my prior, and you might disagree with this, Hutch, and this might be where we disagree. It's my belief that the left did not abandon Kamala in 2024. That the left, by and large, stood by Kamala and walked to go vote for Kamala Harris. And so given that, the left did not, on average, overall, abandon Kamala. That given that overall, the left got the message. They grumbled, but they walked their ass to the polls and they voted for the lesser of two evils. They got that message. The left, by and large, did. Not everyone, and I condemn the individuals who did it. And certainly maybe enthusiasm played some role, but I don't have evidence that the left cost Kamala the election. So why do I think that there's evidence that materially they're going to cost AOC some kind of election in the future, some hypothetical election? I just don't see them as having that swayability for the left.
I just told you, in an election, a national election where there's 150 million
that clip was watermarked with Midas Touch, so I assume they released it, right?
People voting, and it's decided by 40,000 votes, and you don't even want to entertain the notion that maybe
he's saying that we've not min-maxed lefty support for Kamala Harris, which could be outcome determinative.
They actively work against
But Hutch, I think
party.
No. But Hutch, we can agree with all that. Again, these are compatible. For instance, what you brought up earlier, and I thought it was probably the best point that you made, was the idea that there's evidence to suggest that probably 2 or 3 million people who voted for Biden decided not to vote because of essentially Israel and Palestine was their number one issue. And this seemed to be a group of overwhelmingly progressive people because they said that they would have rather voted for somebody like Sean Fain or AOC or something for president. But I think that's in part one of the big reasons why I say even that criticism I don't think is very good, because I don't think that AOC can plausibly be framed to this group of people as like someone who's like a soft pussy on Israel-Palestine. Like, this is somebody who says, look, Israel's committing a genocide. Netanyahu's a war criminal. She'd probably commit to, like,
we would
not
stop
allowing.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, like, she'd
You're
probably
making my
commit
point
to, like,
for me, though.
No,
You're making my
she-
point for me.
but-
She
no,
she has this strong position on Israel-Palestine, and it's not enough for these fucking lunatics.
No, but
we agree with that.
We agree that it's not enough for online leftist content creators, right? So I would agree with that. But I don't think that in the course of a long campaign, and to Josiah's point, who even knows if she's going to run for president? But nonetheless, let's just assume that she is. During the course of the long-term campaign that she's going to be a part of, I don't think that you can plausibly represent to these people that AOC's history is like particularly weak on Israel-Palestine when she has all of these like consistent statements that she's made over time. And like you said, she voted against the bill in the first place. She says she wants to strip offensive aid to Israel. Like, I think for a lot of these uncommitted people, these actually existing voters that decided not to vote for Kamala Harris, to Pisco's point, they overwhelmingly decided to vote for her. But for the ones that didn't, it's not clear to me that there's much evidence to suggest that like this would make the difference between them not voting or voting for AOC. Like, I think they would overwhelmingly vote for AOC at higher margins than Kamala.
Well,
it just seems
to
like
Hutch's point. To Hutch's point, let me ask you this. To Hutch's point.
Oh, am I going to get some backup? Holy shit!
I think what Hutch is saying is, you know, I don't think Hutch would dispute the fact that the left by and large supported Kamala. That'd be a really dumb point, right? Hutch, you agree?
Okay.
The left by and large,
broadly the left,
right?
Yeah.
So I think what he's saying is he feels that there can be some, you know, some juice that we can squeeze out of that coalition a bit more that would be outcome determinative in close elections.
The opportunity cost.
What?
Wait, did Hutch
The
lose
opportunity
two bets
cost,
to Mike from PA? There's no way.
Not just what you lost, but what you could have gained. Is that what you're saying?
Right. That we've not min-maxed that coalition out, and if these leftist content creators would be a bit more reasonable or a bit more temperate in their criticism of AOC, that we could probably get those, you know, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of votes,
but never
theoretically,
paid.
to make the difference. Do you disagree with that? That we have not reached our ceiling for optimal.
Of course not. Yeah, I mean, of course, if every progressive content creator played perfect ball and was willing to, you know, be more pragmatic and, you know, think about these things a little bit more long term and sensibly, we would have better like net electoral outcomes. But I think that but I don't think that I've ever said anything differently. I mean, obviously that's true. Hutch,
no,
I mean,
I'm sure Pisco would agree. But hang on,
that's my
here's
point.
the rub, though. Here's the rub, though, Hutch. By that logic, you're going to be hoisted by your own petard, because now we have to moderate our criticism in vision of the optimal strategy. And so for us, like if we're going to apply this lens, like, is the best thing for building a coalition that protects AOC and protects the candidate to attack all these creators, or like in our wildest dreams convince them? So now I think, Hutch, if we're going to apply this lens, is the best strategy for us under this theory, right, which is where we're just reacting for pure outcome determinative nature, is the best strategy for us to attack all these creators and burn our bridges with them? Yes or no?
At this point, I feel like at this point, yeah.
So you think that?
Yeah. I can't speak for you guys. Make your own.
How does that follow?
You don't need to burn bridges, right? Like
He just won't engage. It's like he will pick on things Econoboi says that don't quite make sense or something, but then the moment Pisco's asking him a hard question, he starts pivoting.
Yeah,
so annoying.
At this point,
okay. So you think that?
Yeah. I can't speak for you guys. Make your own.
How does that follow?
You don't need to burn bridges, right? Like I'm not saying you need to like personally attack these people or you know, call them names or whatever, but certainly attack these arguments. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but hang on. I'm attacking these arguments. I attack those arguments. But like, if your point is they need to calibrate themselves to be electoral maximizers, then so do we, right? And if we do that, then we need to be a little calibrated as well, don't we?
Yeah, don't you?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I would sure. Yeah, there's all kinds of considerations here. Like, I'm down with having like a complex kind of like nuanced sort of like approach to this kind of thing. But I guess like what I'm confused about is like I get you guys to concede that these are incredibly close elections, and we already know that the stakes are insanely high. And I just want to like address something you said. It sounded like you were saying like, I want these people to never criticize AOC, but that's not what I'm saying. Like, it depends on how you criticize them and if the critique is actually based in any kind of like pragmatic or realistic or any kind of sense in that manner. Like this is just a stupid critique. It's a dumb critique.
And if you read what they're saying, again, we can go back to the critique. I don't agree with it. So you're shadowboxing me, right? So like, I don't agree with this critique of AOC. I defend my queen AOC, against all these people every day. So we don't actually need to have that conversation again about your argument, which I accept. Just like the Manchin thing, right? I accept the Manchin argument. But like, why spend time if we agree on something, right? Like on the Manchin thing. Why spend time on it? Like we agree. Like I agree on that. Like I agree on your pragmatic argument.
In this case, your instinct was to minimize. It's not that big of a deal. You're getting worked up. You're getting worked up over these lefties again. Is what you guys tell me. That's what you guys tell me, right? Don't shake your head. No.
Well, actually, respectfully, you started this fight with us. You picked this fight with us.
Well, I can explain why.
So, why did pragmatism get you, Hutch? The Dems were being pragmatic, yet they still lost. But Hutch, I think, legit blames basically the lefties working against quote-unquote Kamala for the loss. He seems to think it's all about Israel-Palestine. He thinks these lefty content creators have a big influence. It seems to follow that basically a significant part of why they lost the election was because lefty content creators were voicing displeasure towards Kamala's stance on Israel. And obviously, that is the fault of all of these lefty content creators who have these beliefs, have always had these beliefs, and will always say these beliefs, and not the fault of the Democratic Party for failing to get voters to get out and vote for them. Obviously, it is the fault of the media and the people, the voters, the electorate, and not the fault of the candidate or the party.
Expressing my opinions. That's what's going on here. Why would you shake your head? No, that's what you do. Tell me week after week. Here's Hutch getting triggered by the lefties again. You do say that.
No, Hutch, you could, whatever you want to. I don't think I've ever said that. I mean, maybe Pisco, but
I might have said that.
What I've said though is I'm making a very descriptive claim, right? Now you can disagree with the empirics, right? But I'm just saying that, look, to the extent that I'm minimizing it, right? I think that it's just fully appropriate to minimize it because I don't think that this will actually, create a very, very large headache for AOC in the long term. And again,
they threw fake blood outside of her office and called her a genocide supporter.
We condemn it.
No, but I'm just saying there are very real consequences to this shit.
Hutch, Hutch, there were people during Mamdani's election who showed up to his events and said, fuck you for accepting AOC's endorsement. She's a genocide supporter. She supports the Iron Dome. This was literally equipped during Mamdani's campaign. And people like that existed during Mamdani's election. People like that existed when AOC ran for re-election in 2024. People like that existed when Bernie's
progressives win elections. Therefore, this is not that big of a deal. What is this logic?
No. Hutch, what the fuck? Obviously, look, Hutch, I'm not saying this might not make, 0.5% difference or something like that. I'm just saying that I don't think that it's going to be a huge, broad, AOC's political career is going to be substantially cut back by this. That's all I'm saying. And I think that's actually pretty, that's a pretty fair read of these things, if you ask me.
But you just conceded that these are close elections. So even if it did move the needle 0.5%, that could be outcome determinative. But so Hutch, in my mind, it should not just you shouldn't just have this instinct to be wow, that's just them being.
But
them.
Isn't burning the bridge? Isn't pissing them off?
That they do this. It should piss you off because you like this candidate. And
what does he want though? He's not saying what he wants. They say it's bad. It's bad. We don't like it. It's bad. It's bad. It's not enough. It's still not enough.
You want to see her succeed.
Yeah,
that's why I'm why aren't you angry that this happens?
So I can. Do you want me to respond or just
I was gonna say, so I do get pissed when online content creators, including the Vanguard or whoever it is, from Brianna Joy Gray to the Vanguard, indicate that they're not going to, when push comes to shove between themselves or between a Democrat and a Republican, back the Democrat. That is really frustrating. It does piss me off. Of course it pisses me off. But for me personally, because they are the more proximate teammate, I keep my focus on the right. And I think the next part of the conversation, which we don't have time to get into because we got to, I've got to hard out in 15 minutes, is, and maybe this is for the next time we discuss on Live and Learn, is what do you think is the optimal use of time here? Because, should you dedicate your entire time? Should we dedicate our entire times to critiquing the left? Or Are you failing?
Or using
Hutch,
them?
because you
I'm not
wait a minute.
saying
Wait a
that.
minute.
I'm
Wait a
not
minute.
saying that.
Well, I'm not. No, I'm not saying that you're saying that. I'm asking you, right? Because I think part of your frustration is you don't think that we openly criticize the left enough, the dissident left, Francesca Fiorentini and Kyle and the Vanguard when they oppose Democrats.
That's exactly
I would want to know. I would be curious what you think the optimal timeshare of that would be.
I
and also,
I can't give you a percentage of time.
I understand, but and I'm not asking you for a specific percentage, but like, what sort of things would you like to look at? And also, is your own approach open to critique? Because if you're out here slugging with these people, calling them stupid or whatever, are you actually persuading them, or are you causing them to double down?
You need me in that mud.
Well, wait a minute.
So like, just zero self-reflection. This shit is so telling. It's just the absolute ego to think you've just got everything settled, all the political strategy just settled. You know exactly what to do. You need me doing this. You need me doing it. Bro, get a grip.
That's the thing. You need me in that
mud.
mud. Somebody's got to do it.
No.
Somebody's got to fucking do it.
Maybe.
Hold on.
Maybe you can make the case. Wait a minute. Maybe you can make the case that somebody. You can make the case that somebody needs to be critiquing these arguments. But is your approach optimal? Are you too combative? Are you too are you blocking?
I know, all I can
is it
tell you
bad
is
to block people like Ogre Boy instead of like having persistent conversations with him and try to like
fuck Ogre Boy?
He's out of I don't want him in the coalition. Do your own party. Do your own thing.
But isn't that suboptimal? Isn't that suboptimal that you're shutting down?
Because you're giving them good faith, bro. Ogre Boy's not good faith. Why are you doing this? Why are you saying like, oh, he's persuadable? He gets off on this fucking shit. You understand? Like he's not.
So I'm confused. Like, what do you think? So you think that shitting on these content creators will convince their audience to vote to back you? So if I like Hassan and you come in and act like a
I get emails all the time about this. I'm just telling you, like behind the scenes, I get more emails now saying thank you for like pulling me out of that thing than I ever did with MAGA. That's just my personal experience. And I just want to rewind the clock a second ago because you said like the Vanguard are what did you say? We're in close proximity to them and
they're more proximate ally than right.
Dog.
Yeah, I'm sick of the email shit, man. Sick of the email shit. It's like the most retarded fucking point in the world. I hate it. I hate it. It's not only is it a Destinyism, it's not even just that it's a Destinyism. I don't care about the Destinyism. It's just dumb as fuck. I'm sorry, but if you have a public email, you can get endless emails saying a bunch of fucking stupid shit telling you you're right. If I just sat there and read all the times that, people that like my content said I was right about something, or like, oh wait, you really brought me over. Yeah, I could fucking sit there and convince myself I'm right about everything all day, but it's fucking pointless. Like...
Do you guys understand? When they came on our podcast last week, they accused the Democratic Party of being a rotating villain who secretly don't want to do anything for voters.
We pushed on them, but they voted for
Kamala.
But
how are these people like allies when they're telling their audience?
They're calling.
You're not hearing what. So this is where you're not hearing what I'm saying. I said that they are more proximate allies than the right, and they are. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm right, and you're fucking wrong about this. I'm right, and you're wrong. You will never, ever be able to refute it. It is a perfect position. The Vanguard are more likely. Shut the fuck up. The Vanguard are more likely to vote. The Vanguard,
than like full-throated MAGA.
Are you serious? Hey, who voted for the fucking Democrats in the last election, Hutch?
I am making...
Again, I win, you lose. Because Rob Noor voted for Trump, and the Vanguard voted for Kamala. You fucking vindicated my point.
Josiah, I think we misheard. Josiah, we misheard. Hutch, I know that you didn't say, and you didn't say that Rob Noor is a better ally to you, right?
I'm not being serious. Yes. I'm saying that Rob Noor is closer because...
He didn't say it. He didn't say it.
No, I'm not being serious. I'm saying like because he's been willing to like criticize him on the Epstein stuff or whatever, he's like closer to me than like MAGA, you know what I mean? But do you understand the problem of a content creator?
Wait, what's your wait? Hang on. What's your
problem of a content
What's your point about Rob Noor?
And it doesn't matter. It's a stupid fucking joke. It literally doesn't matter. Do you understand the significance or the meaning?
He's farming us, because he knows that these debates do well on his channel. He's farming us.
The impact that a content creator has when they go and they make a video, and every single time they open their mouth about the Democrats, they're telling their audience that the Democrats are just as evil as Republicans. They just hide it better. They're rotating
Vanguard's not
guns
saying that.
to do that. Yes,
wait a minute. Hey, listen
what
to me.
are
Please
you
listen
talking
to me.
about?
Listen to me. As somebody
He literally said that in the last week, and I can't get you guys to notice this. You know, did it just go one ear?
I didn't hear it.
and out the other?
I didn't hear it.
They literally said that Joe Biden didn't want to do anything for his voters. They literally said that.
Again,
but okay.
They said in that conversation, and they've said elsewhere, some genuinely unhinged, stupid shit. I will not dispute that. I will not. When I said that Biden couldn't govern by executive order the way that Trump can because Trump has a sympathetic Supreme Court and Biden doesn't, and Zach, whom I like, responded with, I hear what you're saying, but I don't give a shit. Like, that was dumb. That was just objectively stupid.
That's insane.
But wait.
It's more than dumb.
Wait.
Why does it need to be more than dumb?
But they
Hutch? Why does it need to be more?
But they voted for Kamala.
Dude, I might have something crazy, but I need to verify. Oh, I don't even want to...
Harris, unless they're lying, they voted for Kamala Harris, and
I don't want to say anything, man.
They have said they've done two other things.
That Trump is worse.
And they lay into Trump now. Their focus is like their whole beef with Cenk Uygur is not because he's pro-Democrat. It's because he's too friendly to MAGA. And so, yes, they are more proximate allies to the Democratic coalition than somebody on the right. Certainly than somebody compared to Rob.
Hutch?
I'll take the vote, but you're saying like they're allies, but all of these people say the same thing about the Democratic Party.
I said they're
they
more
also
proximate.
wait, but you can't even, your mind can't even fathom the possibility that someone just because they say they voted for someone.
Tell me more, guy who compared the Vanguard to Rob fucking
You're getting hung
Nord.
up on a stupid joke because you don't want to confront my point because you know I'm fucking right. Like, you can't even fathom the possibility that like just because they said that they voted for someone, that doesn't mean that they can't do damage every fucking day by saying stupid shit like the Democrats are evil and they, you know, like Joe Manchin is
what
like
should we do,
he's like a
Hutch? What should we
deliberate
do?
plot.
Right.
All I'm asking, you don't need to spend 20% of your day
Why
or
not?
10%.
Why not?
Listen
Why
to
shouldn't
what I'm
they?
saying. You don't need to spend a certain percentage, but stop hand waving it when it happens. Stop doing this like minimizing, like it's not that big of a deal. They're just fucking, they're just like blowing steam off. It is what it is.
Why shouldn't we be exclusively punching left? Why even bother punching right? Why shouldn't we just exclusively punch left?
Well, we have to talk about MAGA, obviously.
Why? Because people are going to vote for Democrats, probably for the most part, aren't going to vote for MAGA,
Why
right?
do you think I say that we need to talk about MAGA? Why do you think? We're creators that cover politics. They come to us to find out what is happening that day. Is there a bill getting passed? Or is there something that Trump did with the executive authority? What's happening over here in the Texas legislature? Like, people come to us because they want us to like
So where's our time best
information.
spent, Hutch? I think that basically when confronted with these arguments, we do disagree with them. Sometimes like probably more politely than you would want us to, right? Is that basically we're too polite when we disagree with the Vanguard on like the student loan stuff and the Manchin point? Is that approximating your concern?
Yes.
I'm not trying to trigger. No. I'm not trying to trigger.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
No, but is one of the problem? No, is one of the ways it manifests is that when we disagree with the Vanguard, that we're a little bit too polite about it. I'm genuine.
Yes.
I am not being facetious. Yes. Right. So
yes.
so you want us to be a little bit more combative with these people, and so when I'm on, breaking points, or when I'm like talking to Kyle to be like, why the fuck did you say this to AOC?
You don't need to say it like that, but it needs to be more.
Why did you say this about AOC?
You don't need to say like fuck. You don't need to do that, but like certainly more assertive and less.
This sounds like what we said about Joe Biden, by the way, where like Joe Biden should like be publicly signaling and like make it.
Hutch has been streaming. I'm pretty sure, yeah, Hutch has been streaming. Yeah, 100%. Hutch has been doing content creation, streaming the longest, 100%, without a doubt.
He doesn't have to full
Even
on
in politics,
condemn Joe Manchin, but like, if you understand what you're doing, you're kind of doing the Goldilocks thing that we were kind of arguing that there are ways that Joe Biden can improve his rhetoric and his,
we don't have time to unpack just how stupid your arguments were last week.
Why is that comparison stupid? Actually, wait, no. What can you say?
No, the whole premise with the thing about like you guys never even demonstrated.
You
guys never even demonstrated that Trump's strategy of bullying people is better than Biden. You never even demonstrated that to begin with.
No, sorry.
So you were asking me to say like, well, why shouldn't we do the thing that Trump is doing without even establishing that it's better? Like Joe Biden's track record was objectively better. Like his strategy was clearly better than Donald Trump. And you're asking me the stupid fucking question about like, why doesn't he bully people?
So did you have the impression the question was as between Trump's strategy on net and Biden's strategy on net, who produced the most legislation? Was that your impression of what the question was about? What we were talking about?
Why doesn't Biden similarly bully his own party? That's what you said. That was the whole argument.
Is part of that analysis a comparison between the legislative accomplishments between the two individuals? Is that what you took from that?
Yes, of course. Why wouldn't that be a part of the analysis?
So the question is, in fact, are there things about pressuring from the party that we can learn from Biden? That is not saying or asserting or at all implying that the better strategy on net for legislative accomplishments is to hook, line, and sinker by Trump over Biden. It is not at all asking for us to do a deep examination on the overall legislative track records. It's asking a much more narrow question, which I don't know how we haven't been able to get this to stick. Are there specific things?
This is not my problem. You guys are not understanding what's going on here.
So there's a narrow question, which is, did Biden leave things on the table with respect to his optics and communication? And your answer to that is, of course, yes, he did, right?
No. We were very specifically talking about the tactic of bullying. Okay. And if we're gonna explore why.
I like how this irrelevant, hyper-political podcast being used as a proxy war for a bunch of slob tubers. Very true, very true. There is a little bit of that. Well, okay, I don't think it's quite that. I think it's actually the other way around, to be honest. Not in regards to these people. But the issue is that slop drama is unfortunately a lot of the time downstream from politics. And so a lot of the kind of political vibes and disagreements are kind of being slightly reflected naturally in the drama, I think.
Why didn't you adopt this thing that Trump does?
And most people just don't want to acknowledge that. Most people who are sitting there shilling Israel through a proxy content creator on their stream day in, day out don't want to admit that's what they're doing.
You have to establish that there's value there. If you just look at the facts, it demonstrates very clearly that Trump's strategy of bullying people, it doesn't work. It doesn't work the way that Biden's does. And on top of that, in both terms, Trump had 3 votes to lose in the Senate. He had 3 fucking votes to lose in the Senate. A 50-50 is a totally different dynamic.
So it logically necessitates, if I say that there are aspects that Trump should borrow from, that Biden should borrow from Trump in terms of cohesiveness of the party, that there are some elements, or not even really of Trump, but we're arguing for our own thing and his own style to do his own thing, but even assuming that were the framing, that there are some, in some ways, that Biden could be more of a bully or be more active or be more communicative, that you think that necessarily implies that we think that Trump on net, his strategy is preferable to Biden's, and we would need to demonstrate to you, in order to do this, we would need to demonstrate to you actual proof that Trump's overall strategy is more accomplishment, it's got a better record than Biden's overall strategy. You think that one of those things implies the other, that we would need to show you that Trump has been more successful overall than Biden? You think that that's what the conversation is about?
No. You have to demonstrate any value. You have to demonstrate any value to the bullying thing.
Yeah. And I think we're going in circles. I mean, we're just going to go over whether it's a significant value to improve your polling numbers, and whether we think that Biden left cards on the table by in terms of optics and communications with respect to his polling numbers. And you're going to say he didn't leave any cards on the table, and he couldn't have been more communicative, and he couldn't have been better in terms of his rhetoric.
That's a different thing altogether than should he have been harder on Manchin and Sinema, bro?
So listen,
different thing.
I know that this is it is now demonstrated. I know it was threatened earlier, but now it's demonstrated that this is going to be a recurring topic of conversation, because we didn't talk about anything in the title, and that's fine. But when this comes up again, I will want to explore what we all believe would be a better use of our time as content creators with respect to focus and why.
So Pisco makes a great point on his stream as well. This is just, I think I've said this, and I think Straight Raid said this at 1.2. That it is just like purity testing. It's just like lib purity testing. It's like they're crying about lefties purity testing, and they've decided instead they're going to purity test. And if the lefties ever disagree with anything they say or anything they think, well, then those lefties have to be completely hounded and torn apart. Okay, well, you're just doing the exact same thing.
That's interesting. If we really believe what we believe about the left coalition and where we should ascribe use of our time, I'd like to explore that more, because Hutch, obviously I don't watch all of your streams from start to finish, but I know your VODs, you dedicate most of your VODs to punching left. Almost all of my VODs,
Yeah,
like my
that's
videos.
my project right now for sure.
Yeah. So mine is punching right.
Yeah.
No, I understand. So I will want to interrogate that more because I want to know that you've done the introspection. Like, okay, listen, you know, when the left picks a fight with the more right, you know, the liberal side of the coalition, that's not good. But when liberals pick a fight with the left, that is a better use of time. I want to know more about it. And I understand you can't assign a percentage, but I will want to.
I never
explore
said
that more.
anything about like you're talking about like punching left right now. I never said they can't criticize liberals. Do it, but it's
no.
Is it fair criticism?
I think what Josiah's saying is like if you were ascribing a negative moral value to the left critiquing libs from the left wing perspective, usually because you disagree with like the optics or the tactics or the fundamentals
the substance,
of it, right?
Yeah, the substance
of it.
Case by case.
Yeah, it could be case by case. I'm not. You're a nuanced guy, Hutch, and I do love you. You are my dog and you're my boy. But I think what Josiah's saying is like, doesn't that same critique flow backwards? That why is it like very problematic for the left to swing to the right to the libs, but not problematic for the libs to swing left?
Again, I think slightly wrong. I think Pisco does know he's fighting the shadow of the DGG plantation. I think he does realize that because he's seen Destiny's coverage and he's watched, you know, Destiny do his coverage and then Hutch come back emboldened. I thought he's got to know that's what's happening.
You guys,
that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna need to tease that out more because
I never said don't criticize liberals, but if your criticisms are fucking stupid, or even worse, if your criticisms are that the Democratic Party is evil and they don't actually want to like give you healthcare.
With respect, I didn't say that you said that you can't ever criticize liberals. This is what I'm talking about.
No, you said that there was like a double standard. Like, oh, it's interesting. You think you can punch left, but then you get upset that they punch left.
No. What I'm saying is you do punch left. You take issue often when the left punches more to the right. I will want to explore that more when, where it's permissible. And to what extent. That's not me saying that you think that you can't ever criticize liberals. I'll say it. I'll do the Pisco thing. I will repeat myself. I am not saying that you are saying that you can't ever criticize liberals.
I'm want to gaslit. You guys gaslight.
Dude, like this is what it requires. You have to literally be so hard-headed and start accusing your friends of abusing you to maintain this position. My friends are abusing me. They're gaslighting me. They're trying to deliver a very simple point to me. But it's abuse and gaslighting. I didn't say abuse, but gaslighting is.
This is gonna be a great.
You guys gaslight me, bro. You're like,
what did I just say?
It's interesting that you don't like it when they punch right. And I'm like, I never said, bro, don't punch right or whatever.
Wait, I didn't say that you said that. I didn't say that you said that. What are you talking about? I'm saying
Pisco did, and now you're gaslighting me. You're like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
No,
you said that. I remember.
Negative.
Beers. I'm on to you, bro. I'm wise to your act.
Hutch, I actually listen. I don't take it personally. I love all of my Live and Learn co-panelists. I love my socialist Econoboi, and we should interrogate and talk about what our maximum strategy. Because I want to hear your criticism, Hutch. If you think that we should spend more time attacking lefties, I'm open to that. I love attacking attacking lefties, but. Recently, I've been trying to focus on the MAGA administration, but maybe that's wrong, and maybe you're right. And I'm open to that conversation.
I said it during this podcast. I said it like 3 times. I said I'm not going to.
I'm just saying I'm open.
I'm not saying that you need to like spend 50% of your time talking to them. Like there's a role for like Josiah. There's a
Hutch will leave his podcast. I'm calling it. I'm predicting it. Hutch will leave his podcast. Absolutely predicting it.
Role for you 100% focusing on MAGA. That's valid. It's completely valid. All I said was stop hand waving and minimizing the things that happen. And if you like AOC and want her to succeed, that stuff should bother you. It should be like quite frankly, it should piss you off. Is my point.
It does.
Right, and I'm curious how like because we the three of us believe we are pissed, but we want to know how you think it should be reflected,
manifested,
in terms of volume, of content, and no, it's. Like, I think it's a perfectly reasonable question to ask. I am genuinely interested in what you think is the more optimal approach.
I didn't hear any of you guys pissed off about this.
Well,
none.
Again,
none of you guys.
Today?
Were pissed off.
Right.
So I want to be clear. I just want to say I am not pissed off. Okay, and the only reason I'm saying that, okay, is because again, I don't actually my actual opinion is that I do not think this will make a big difference in AOC's chances of winning
from a
any
descriptive
future office. Descriptively, that's
Yeah.
why I'm not really that pissed off by it. I don't think it makes that big of a difference, right? We just
Yeah,
have a
and by
difference of opinion on the facts of the matter, right? I
And
mean,
by this,
I don't
what I'm
agree with the
saying
criticism.
is the left criticizing Democrats at times when the Republican alternative is worse, like during an election. That's what I'm saying is pissed. I'm not saying that I get pissed every time the left criticizes liberals either. Just to clarify what I'm saying, I do get annoyed by. You say that you didn't see us being pissed. That's my point. A lot of things that piss me off about the Vanguard or Kyle or Crystal or whatever, I often bite my tongue, right? Because I just see it 100%
So
because
you're a
I see it
bitch.
because I see it as more important to build the coalition.
So you're a bitch.
I would rather have with Kyle and Crystal and the Vanguard a coalition than hashing out every single disagreement we have that risks the coalition. If I feel that the coalition is risky, yes, of course. I don't just, I keep my powder dry for the right. And I've been very open about that from the beginning. I try to pick my battles about when and where I disagree and how, which is why I've gone on to the Vanguard
But we have been
a couple
ruthless
of times to do that.
but to Hutch's point, and I guess I'll have a genuine question for you. I know that we have a hard out, so we have to go. But I'll have a question for you, Josiah, and maybe for myself is we have been going hard on Fetterman. We have been going hard on Schumer. We have been going hard on Hakeem Jeffries. Just earlier this conversation, we were going hard on Hochul. So we'll need to explain that as well.
Yeah, no. Go ahead.
I everything you're saying is valid. I'm not saying you should burn bridges. I'm not saying, but we're grown-ups, and I think like grown-ups can like call other grown-ups out for behavior that's like bad.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's how a lot of coalitions work. Like, listen, my general disposition is, unless I get super pissed, when I have a conversation with somebody that I consider nominally an ally, I do treat them with kid gloves because I don't know what it is that they can take in terms of criticism and the intensity of the criticism. And if I judge the coalition as being broadly more valuable than litigating every single disagreement that we have, then
he'll hold back.
Yeah, exactly. And I genuinely don't know of any like somebody like Destiny, for example, when he had disagreements with me, I know for a fact that he kept his powder dry. Like he didn't go 10 out of 10 hardcore on every disagreement that we had. I think more.
Hell yeah.
Is that fair? Is that fair?
Don't care
I'm not
about
trying to
that guy.
gaslight you. I'm genuinely saying,
yes.
If we're gonna talk about this,
you're valid.
Then I have questions for you about what you would like to see different and why.
I look forward to having backup with liberal twink, who will for sure.
Who's that?
Make me feel less.
Who's liberal twink?
Lakshya Jain.
Lakshya.
Oh,
is it Lakshya? I thought it was Lakshya.
Is it?
I thought there was a content creator.
Right.
I thought there was a content creator named Liberal Twink.
No.
There is Peter Twinklage. There's Peter Twinklage.
I never heard of him.
I think he does stuff for Split Ticket, and his whole thing is like wins above replacements war. So he's about like not doing like primary Civil War things. So he's gonna come in and he's like super into polls and data and all that stuff.
Yeah, and then on Friday I'm having a conversation with Dan Pfeiffer from Pod Save America, and I'm going to try to get him on the following Monday. So
ask him about the Hunter Biden thing.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got. I saw Tommy Vitor responded, and I don't know about John Favreau, but
the second monitor is going kind of crazy right now. I'm seeing whether I should leak something, but I'm verifying. I have to verify. I have to do very close verification before I leak anything.